Can I have one done tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Sarah Jazz Freezer. I'm going to give you the show news and the word on tonight. We're going to start with Hamas had released 13 of Israel hostages, from Gaza during the short ceasefire. So they had been taken capture by Hamas since October. They've been with him since October. Attacks have been released from Gaza hours after the 4-day ceasefire had took effect. So the ambulance and the buses had carried the hostages released by Hamas crossed to Egypt. So thank God the hostages have been free and been handed over to Red Cross and they are in Egypt. Now 13 hostages will return to their family. That's a blessing. You know, I've been praying every day. It's a blessing. That they've been released and they have not been harmed. They've been safe. But we still have more hostages. We still have American, hostages to be released. Because these they is from Egypt. So their family, thank God their family able to see them and they're safe. But um, we still waiting on American hostages to be released. So I'm gonna keep on praying for American hostages to be released also. So we also I also want to talk about Trump. You know, called the judge all kind of names, even like psycho. So the former President Trump had took the Truth Social 2 o'clock in the morning, Thanksgiving, to attack people involved in the fraud case that threatened his real estate empire along with his political opponent. So it stated with gay order restricted $200 million of New York City from trial should be reinstated. So former Trump had called the judge Arthur Sacco that he also attacked legal clerk during the trial, and Trump also went after Joe Biden. So a former President Trump, who is running for a president, should not be behaving like this. So if for election 24, now who involved in attacking, threatening people, you know, really is a danger to the world. Who is disqualified to be the next president of 2024. I mean, you can't behave like this here if you're running for the president. So it's like, you disqualify cause of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, stated that no person should hold office if they have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States and engage in a surrender or rebellion against the Constitution. Now, the cause was enticed in 1868, in the way of the Civil War to keep former Confederate civil and military officers again, was largely forgotten until January the 6th of 2021, now assault on the United States Capitol. So former President Trump, made too many threats, and, having a bad behavior to be a president. So former president is disqualified and needs to be off the ballot for 2024 election. And so all this bad behavior come from this gay art. The Constitution and the First Amendment protect everyone's freedom of speech. But it should not be used to make statements about the court or any personal information public. It's a pattern of Trump speaking public about what been said behind closed doors. It's security risk. To get all this take place to prevent public statement and talking about court cases and secret legal information or staff or clerk. So I request that get order to remain because all secret information or anything in court or meeting should be private and not public. So this kind of behavior really have to stop. This is not how a president supposed to be behaving, especially running for president um, for the second time. So all the threats, even attacking the judge, they're just taking it too far. You are a danger to the nation and disqualified, to be the next president. Election of 2024 should be off the ballot. So also, former president made too many public statements about the court case. Secret legal, information in the staff, the clerk. So this order is in place to stay in place. Get orders to remain. It's just too many threats and too many public speaking. Uh, I do have a word for you on tonight. You know, down but not out. You could be down but not out. Jesus healed Peter, mother-in-law, and many others. So excuse me. So when Jesus had came into Peter's house, he saw Peter's mother-in-law just lying there in bed with a fever. So Jesus had entered Peter's house, and the first thing he noticed is Peter's mother-in-law. Laying in the bed. He knows she normally be laying in the bed like this in broad daylight. So he touched her hand, and the fever had left her. And she got up and she began to wait on him. So now Jesus had touched her, and her fever had left, and the best thing she wanted to do was wait on Jesus. That was the best thing, for her to do. The man of Jesus came in your house, and all he had to do was just touch you. Your fever is gone. So Peter's mother-in-law was instant healed instead of kneeling, needing time to recover from her fever. As would be natural, that she immediately got up and started cooking for Jesus. She started to fulfill her role as a hostess in the household, serving Jesus and others. Now, her ability to do so is evidence that, her healing was supernatural. She realized it was supernatural because all he had to do was just touch her, and she was here. She got out that bed, she went in the kitchen and started cooking to serve Jesus. So now with this story, Jesus didn't have to say anything, just a touch with for her fever to leave. So she was down and she was not out. Peter's mother-in-law didn't think so highly, of Jesus. So everyone, talking about it, and Simon had taken to follow Jesus days at the time throughout the countryside, leaving her daughter-in-law. And see, she felt a type of way with Jesus, but Jesus was the one healer. See, she was mad with Jesus because Jesus took the disciple, and he had to leave his wife behind. Cause remember Jesus said, if you're gonna follow me, you got to leave your family, your wife, your children. You had to leave everybody behind. So she the mother of her daughter, and she felt a type of way with Jesus. So she didn't care too much. But since Jesus had touched her, her fever went away. She hopped out the bed, start cooking, so she feeling a different way now. She managed everything at home. So now she feverish brain as she had lay on her mat. Now she heard voices at the door, and Jesus on Simon and others. Now Peter letting Jesus know that his mother-in-law is sick. But then Jesus had walked over to her mat, and he touched her hand, but it was more than a touch. That's how she know it was supernatural. You know, he touched her, but she know it was more than a touch. Now she had felt love, and she felt in love. You know, Jesus touched her hand, so it's like she falling in love, because she said it was a touch that she never felt before. You know, so it infused her entire body. So her fever broke immediately and her energy returned. And remember, early on, she didn't care for Jesus. But now, you know, she is healed. And she clearly, and there was something extraordinary about Jesus. Something of God was within him. You know, that just like, just like with Jesus. When Jesus was on earth, you, you know, Jesus attracted so many people with his energy. And a lot of time when he was around them or he touched them, they knew it was something special about him. You know, that's why so many people couldn't even be around here, and then they had so many people wanted to be around here. So that's why when he picked certain disciples, they didn't ask no question. You know, they just followed because they know he was different. They knew something about that energy I feel is different, and that's what she said. This was an ordinary touch. You know, this was a touch I never felt before. You know, and that's what she's saying. She said Jesus, sometime of God was with him. You know, perhaps Peter's involvement with him wasn't such a bad thing after all. Now she talking about Peter. Peter's son-in-law. That's the one left his wife at home. You know, he had to because the wife couldn't follow them. You know, the wife couldn't follow them because it was going all over the world. They couldn't bring the wife and the kids and all that because they had to walk and ride the donkey and all that. So they couldn't do that with the family. You know, so she got off her mat and she thinking how could she repay him. You know, now she said no. You know, how could she honor this man? First she was saying, how could I pay him? Talking to herself, how can I pay him? And then she changed. She said, how can I honor him? You know, and remember he went home. He couldn't get no honor. He couldn't get a congratulation or not. But this one woman here, you know, he touched her, and she in love with the touch. You know, so she wants to do something nice for him. And she did what she knew best. That she went to her daughter and helped cook for other guests. And she served them with great joy. And after the meal, the neighbors in the town, people, you know, came to their door to see the master. And she said God was with Jesus. And she will never forget that she will never forget that touch. You know, and Peter's mother-in-law was down, but she was not out. You know, but a touch from Jesus, she was here. That's you know, the mother-in-law, she was down. She was laying in the bed down. She wasn't out, but she was down with fever until Jesus came. Now who knows how far the fever would have went. You know, how long, you know, if Jesus wouldn't have showed up. So she even had to tell Jesus nothing. When Jesus entered the door, you know, he already noticed that she was laying in the bed half sick. You know, and so all Jesus, he ain't say nothing. All he did was went over there and just touched her. And she said that was extraordinary touch. She said that was a touch I ain't never felt before. She said it went all through her body, and she said it was love. She felt in love with that touch. She said she knew it was supernatural. She said she knew it was something from God. You know, she said she knew God was with him that day. You know, she said it's something about him is special. And that's how it is. When you different a lot of times, you know, a lot of people gonna be drawn to you and a lot of people not. A lot of people gonna love you and a lot of people gonna hate you. And that's how you know how horrible Jesus is. A lot of people loved him, but guess what? A lot of people hated him also. You know, so we can't have it both ways. You know, and most of the time when you different like that, a lot of people will not take you in. Sometimes your energy will run them away, and sometimes your energy will draw people to you. And that's how it was. It was so many people drawn to Jesus because he was different because of his energy. You know, and so and he had a gift. He had a gift. All he had to do was walk in there and notice her, and she was way across the room, and notice that she was laying in the bed, half sick, you know. And so he just went over there and asked no question or nothing. All he did was had to touch. And that's when you're powerful. But you ain't got to say nothing but just touch. And somebody will be healed. You know, he asked no question. He just walked over there and touched her. And she felt the touch went all through her body, and she said she started feeling the energy. She got out the bed, and she went by her daughter, and then she just went helping her daughter cook. And at first she had her energy to do anything. All she was doing is just laying in that bed, half sick. And her daughter was cooking for her because she didn't have no energy to do nothing until the man of Jesus came into her home. To enter to him. He ain't had to ask her no question. You know, that's when you powerful, when you can just touch someone. But she know he had God in her. She knew God was in the mix. She said it was an ordinary touch that she had never touched before. She never had a man to touch her like that before. And it wasn't no sexual touch, it was a healing touch. And she said, I was down. She said, but I was not out. And so that's the story of Peter's mother-in-law. Peter is one of the disciples, the one had denied Jesus. So when Jesus had first met Peter, he said, do you want to follow me? Do you want to follow me? To follow me, you got to leave everything behind. So that's why his mother-in-law, had you didn't take Jesus in too much, because he had to leave her daughter behind, and she felt the type of way about that, but then things had changed, so after Jesus had touched her and healed her, then everybody from the neighborhood started coming around, and the word just get out quick. And that's when the people in the neighborhood, they came around the town, the neighbors in the town people, they came to their door to see the master, and she said God was with Jesus. She knew God was with Jesus, and she would never forget that touch of a healing, you know. And she started getting her energy back. She got out the bed, went by her daughter in that kitchen and started helping, her daughter cook, to help to serve other people, because of the neighbors, the town, everybody heard, and they came to her door. Sick people and all came to be healed. If he can just touch you and heal you, I need to be healed. Let him touch me. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm sick. I got this and I got this. Let him heal me since he healed you. So all the neighbors came around to see the master, to see what he can do for them. So Peter's mother-in-law was down, but she was not out. A touch from Jesus had saved her life. And so that's a story of Peter's mother-in-law. She was laying in the bed sick. She said, I'm down. She said, I thought I was going to be out until the master of Jesus had entered into her home, So we also had talk about, Husband had released 13 hostages today, So they were safe, they're with their family, and they're going to Egypt. So thank God. Thank God the prayers work. So we still need American hostages to be released, to their family. So we're gonna keep on praying on that. So we also talk about Trump and his bad behavior. So he threatening, calling the judge names and stuff, calling him a psycho. I mean, who does that? You know, he can't keep making threats like this sitting running for president. You know, because right now he a danger to the nation. You know, making so many threats. You know, and that's not good. You know, because the American people will not feel safe of him being a president. You know, if he keep this bad behavior up. You know, so he is really disqualified. You know, to be the next president of 2024, and he needs to be off the ballot. You know, and see, we also talk about the gay order. You know, that's what the whole argument started with the gay order. You know, that had to stay in place. You know, that had to remain. Uh, and so that's all the news and word I have for you on tonight. Y'all have a blessed and safe day, and I'll see y'all on the next video.